Not long after the turn of the 20th century, a passenger train was traveling over the Baltimore and Ohio's mountain subdivision, traveling down the deep grade into Rollsburg during a heavy April rainstorm. It was very early in the morning, even before the sun rose, if it was to rise at all that day. When the train came to a turn just outside of town, it hit an area where the rain had undercut the ballast rock supporting the tracks, sending the train over a 200-foot embankment into the hollow below. None of the dozens of sleeping passengers saw the accident coming. 7 of them never even woke up, while several more were badly injured. Many of those who did not immediately die perished on their way to the nearest hospital. The following day, the railroad was quick to clean up the wreck and rebuild the damaged track so the trains could go through again. About 7 years later, 2 brothers, Joe and Donald, were walking the tracks on their way home from a poker match at a friend's house and passed over the site of the accident. Joe heard the seemingly distant whistle of an unexpected train. "Did you hear that?" asked Joe. "Hear what?" returned Donald. "It sounded like a train. Listen." Both paused for a moment, turning to look back the other way. Hearing and seeing nothing, Donald told Joe he must have had too much to drink, and both continued to walk. A few seconds later, the noise repeated, this time much louder. "Now tell me you didn't hear that," said Joe. Knowing the schedule, they hadn't expected to hear another train pass through until early the next morning. "Well, it must be the wrecking train coming through. Let's just get off the track and watch it pass," suggested Donald. Both men got off the track and sat on a nearby rock. Suddenly, they saw the headlight beaming around the corner and coming closer and closer. It wasn't a wrecking train. It was a passenger train. "Holy smokes, why is there a passenger train at this hour?" Donald shrieked. Then, before their eyes, the train jumped the track and ran over the embankment and crashed downhill at the exact spot where the train had landed 7 years earlier. The locomotive exploded, the boiler an inferno, with flames as high as the mountainside. Every car was burning white hot. Even the glass in the windows that hadn't shattered in the tumble was melting under the extreme heat. While one would think this would be quite a loud roaring event, perhaps the strangest part of what both men were observing was that nary a sound was heard after the train jumped the tracks, and they turned to run back the other way to get help. When they looked back over their shoulders, the wreck had vanished. They stopped and stood in astonishment for a moment, and then descended down over the embankment to see what happened, but there was no sign that any of it had taken place. The only smoke around was from the dense fog, which was setting into the cool night air.